Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Brownstone. I'm your host, Dr. Michelle, and you're listening to Numbers Don't Lie, where you learn to get out your feelings so you can make the best decisions for yourself, your family, and your business. I have a special guest with me today. For those of you that are transitioning in your career, looking to make different career moves, promotions, confidence in the workplace, you're going to want to tune in, lean in, and even invite your friends that feel the same way. My next guest, I met her in a program. We were trying to get our minds right because we're wealthy women, but a lot of times it starts here before it manifests in our hands, right? So we connected. I like what she was doing. So I said, hey, can you come on my podcast? And of course, she said yes. So I'm going to allow her to introduce herself because, of course, I didn't do her any justice. So introducing my guest, Coach K.
Hello, Dr. Michelle. Thank you so much for having me on here. I'm excited to chat with you today.
Thanks for joining me. You could have been any other place, but I appreciate you coming to stop by the Brownstone.
Of course.
So tell the people a little about yourself.
So I'm based in Toronto, Canada. I have an extensive HR background before kind of quitting my job in 2019 to start my own practice. So I am a certified executive coach. I'm also a facilitator and a speaker. And I really love and I'm passionate about helping women, in particular. I help my bros too, but helping women go from the mundane to the magic of showing up unapologetically in all aspects of their life, whether it be in their career, their personal life, or their business.
I love that. So how did you get into this work? Like, did it just naturally transition once you like change careers, or is this a natural gift? I'm being a little bit nosy right now.
No, you're good. You're good. And I'm glad that you asked because I actually am doing a live tomorrow on that. Like, how did I start and where am I now? So for me, I've always been someone that is about, I'm a server. I love to give and support individuals. And I had a pretty, long history of customer service and serving. And so when I got into HR, the main reason was to help people with their career development because I was someone that was just head down, in my cubicle, doing the day to day, the mundane, until one day I kind of was just like, wait a minute, what am I doing here? I want to make more of a difference and an impact. And it's like you go through these stages and waves in your life. And then I went through one 4 years ago again. Well, I would say more about 10 years. And I was like, what am I really doing here? Is what I'm doing right now honoring my values? Do I feel fulfilled when I wake up in the morning? And I didn't feel that. So I was like, okay, something is off here. So I went through my own personal development journey. I invested in myself with an amazing coach. And it was through that coaching that it was like, go out there and help people on your own because I'm someone, immigrant parents always told you go and you work for someone. Never thought I would be doing this on my own. But I'm absolutely loving it because now I feel like I truly am honoring my values. And I want to encourage others to do the same.
I love that. And that's not just an immigrant parents thing. Well, by the way, where are your parents from?
They're from Jamaica, so the
Cool.
West Indies.
Very cool. I think it's a generational thing. Like you and I think are in the same generation where our parents told us go to college, get a job. And
That's right.
that was a story. And
Mhm.
my mom, my parents weren't entrepreneurs. I didn't see any successful examples of entrepreneurs. So it was just like that never was a part of my career trajectory. So to see that I'm here now, it's just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, but
See what the Lord has done.
and they say like representation does matter because
Yeah.
I do have some entrepreneurs in my family, but they're not close. They're kind of like
Mm.
distant, and I always saw them as just being hustlers. Like they were hustling, like they made it seem like it was so hard. But I
Yeah.
mean, I'm not saying it's rainbow and butterflies every day over here, but I have to say that since I've made this transition, I'm like leaps and bounds ahead in my life and my professional career that I've ever been. And so
I love
it's just that
it.
feeling of being able to get up every day doing the work that I love to do.
That's awesome. Yes, Coach K. So who came up with the name Coach K? Was that you that did like one of your participants coined that for you?
Oh, who came up with the name Coach K? I think it was one of my coaches. I think it was one of my
Oh,
coaches. I think it just came out randomly because Coach Kadine is just almost like, I guess, hard to say or long to say. So he's like, I'm gonna just call you Coach Kid. I'm like, okay. And it just stuck. It's really just stuck. I think even some of my clients find it hard to call me Coach Kadine or even just Kadine or Coach. They always say Coach K.
oh, I love it. So, what has been your biggest challenge coaching adults in
Hmm.
this career space? Because I've worked with children, but adults,
Yeah, we're interesting people, right? We are interesting human beings. I would say the biggest challenge is getting them out of their heads. We're
mm,
so confined and stuck to the way we've always done things, even though it may not be serving us or working for us, but this is the way that I've always done it.
mhm,
And so pivoting or being adaptable or flexible and being coachable to trust that I'm not going to lead you or stray you into something. I mean, my clients, you're always in choice, but I do challenge them and I do push them to kind of step outside of their comfort zone and think outside of the box. I think the biggest thing is the mindset shift, knowing
okay,
that you can be, do, and everything, like anything that you want, because it's all possible. But just getting in our own way. So that's what I think would be the biggest challenge. Once we overcome that challenge, then it's like, oh, I actually can do this, or things are not as hard, right? So I think it's
that's
mindset.
good. Change
Mindset.
is hard. I
It
mean, you
is.
get set in your ways, you get hardened sometimes when you did try something new and it didn't work out, and then you just like, I'm
Mhm.
going to stay on a safe path.
Yes.
So that makes complete sense. So thinking about, how you coach the adults,
Mhm.
what specific KPIs, and for those of you that are listening, KPIs are key performance indicators. What KPIs do you focus on when evaluating, like, yes, this program is actually working? Like, what are you actually looking for?
Honestly, I'm looking for a shift. I'm looking for a change in their mindset. I'm looking for a change in their behavior. And each client is unique, right? So it really depends on what did they come into the coaching relationship for? Did they want to gain more confidence? So now can they stand up for themselves when they're in a board meeting, or can they just show up differently? Maybe it's their goal was to find a job, and the tools and resources that I provided them, they were actually able to successfully land a new job. So there's different KPIs in the ways that I measure it, but it's all about what the client's struggling with, meeting them where they're at, and then providing them with what they need to get them to where they want to go
I
or where
love
they want
that.
to be.
So, what has been like the theme that when people come to see you, like, what's just usually their biggest challenge? Like, I need help doing.
Confidence, clarity, focus. Um, I would say that a lot of people right now are really struggling with clarity. I think
Mm,
there's so much noise going on. And just belief in themselves, imposter syndrome, limiting beliefs. Those are some of the really big ones right now.
that's good. That's so interesting because I feel like 5 years ago, we would have just tried to do this on our own. You know what I mean? It's just
Yeah.
like, well, I'm just going to pray about it or it'll get better. And maybe that's some people listening today where it's just like, this is just a phase, or I'll get over it, or I'll develop it. So
Yeah.
I think that's really cool that you actually coach people in a place that typically we would try to do on our own. But if I'm honest, a lot of us never come out of those spaces.
No. And it's just a revolving, like nothing changes if nothing changes. And
Hmm.
to me, you have nothing to lose. I always say once you make the decision, whether monetary or otherwise, to invest in yourself, you can't lose. Like there's no way that you can lose when you're making an intentional investment in yourself.
I
And
love
what do
that.
you have to lose really? If you've been constantly doing something one way, you have more to gain than just by trying and engaging with a mentor or a coach or someone that really wants to see you win and to achieve all that you want to do. Because that's in essence what a coach does is where you're your cheerleaders, we're your champions. We're there to give you a different perspective and to open to you up to other possibilities, right? So you have nothing to lose. And
I
you're
love
always in
that.
choice. So you can always say, no, I'm not going to do that. No, I don't want to, unpack that because some of it is about unpacking and unlearning some of
Mhm.
your past behaviors and mindsets, right? So it's work. I've done it and I'm still doing it. So I could say that it's work, but well worth it. Well worth it.
I love that. That's good because yeah, child. I don't know why we're so scared. Like, and it's like I know change is hard, but I always just think about like, what happens if I do nothing? Like, will I be
Mm-hmm.
satisfied with my life if I just keep going like this? And a lot of us will say no,
Right.
but the transition part happens. Like, what are you going to do about it? And
Exactly.
like I was just talking to my sister the other day about how she was talking to someone that's like literally complaining about the same thing all the time. And I'm like, I can't listen to that because at some point, what are you going to do about it? Like, does it
Exactly.
not get old complaining about the same thing? Like, do you not get tired of hearing your own self? talk about how
Mm-hmm.
much you don't like your job, your coworkers, or I don't feel like I'm living my purpose. So it's like, what are you going to do about it?
Exactly. Exactly. And that's one of the first questions that I ask clients is when we start working together is, what do you want?
Mm,
If you could be, do, and have anything, what would it look like? What do you want? Because unless you figure out or know what you want, it's really hard for you to have it. And then we start with maybe the visualizing or the shifting of your mindset. But it really starts with, what do you want? That's your foundation, your anchor. That's going to motivate you and encourage you to kind of want to pursue it and move forward. Like I'm so anchored in my why right now. Like I'll never say never because you just never know. Um, but I can't see myself going back to a full-time 9 to 5 rule
mhm.
with the freedom and flexibility that I have right now. I can't see it. I mean, they would have to come real correct with an offer, and I would have to have that freedom and flexibility. And I don't think a
Mhm.
corporate 9 to 5 can give me that.
That's real. Listen, what could you do with an extra $25,000? I'm sure your mind went so many places: a building, supplies, software, team. Well, if you want to beef up your revenue strategy for 2024, I advise you to check out our Grant Success Unlocked Black Friday special. We are in the grant writing business and we want to make sure we get the funds to those that are doing great work in their community. So if you have not considered grant funding as a part of your revenue strategy, we want you to seriously consider it today. Head on over to www.grantsuccessunlocked.com/Black Friday now. You're going to see great deals. It's a fully comprehensive package. And all you have to do is show up. We handle the rest. So head on over to www.grantsuccessunlocked.com/Black Friday. You're listening to KCCR Cityscape. Make sure you check us out online at brownstoneworldwide.com as well as on Facebook. We're so happy to engage with you. So make sure you go check us out there as well as Instagram. We have a lot going on. We have a magazine. We have a cruise coming up. So go on to brownstoneworldwide.com and see what the Brownstone has for you. We have advertising opportunities as well. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's what a lot of us are looking for. Like when we go to a financial coach, go talk to a career coach or whatever, like a lot of us really just want freedom. Like and freedom looks different for everybody. Sometimes it still is your full 9 to 5, but I just want to be able to do certain things in my family. That means
Exactly.
I just want to be able to work remote. I want to be able to do hybrid. I know that works for a lot of my coworkers. They have small children.
Mm-hmm.
Remote and hybrid works perfect for them because they can actually be home to take their children to school. Like they can't take their children to school
Exactly.
in the morning, when they have to be in the office and fight through traffic. So
Right?
it's like that freedom. So it's like, what are you looking
Exactly.
for? And most of us really do want freedom.
And flexibility. I mean, I always
Mhm.
say you've hired an adult. Trust that they're going to do their job.
Yeah.
I may not be there at 9 o'clock, but you don't see me when I'm on logged in still at 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
So trust that the job is going to get done no matter when I started. I mean, obviously there could be harsh deadlines or meetings that, are not movable, but some flexibility, I think, now needs to happen more than ever because things are
Absolutely.
changed and they're never going to go back to the way they were.
No. And all those companies and corporations that are trying to enforce the old way, and like
Yeah,
not just them, but everyone is having a hard time hiring. It's just like if you're not being flexible and working with people and meeting people with
exactly.
at least trying to compromise on like what they want and what you want, they literally have options. Like it's so people can get a job tomorrow if they wanted to. Like we have
100%.
options. So if you're
100%.
gonna make me be here every day and I don't want to, I'm just not gonna work for you.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what it's come down to. Employers really have to check themselves now. It's not,
Mhm.
and I've always said too with any of my clients that when you're interviewing and being considered for a role, as much as you need to check the employer's box, they need to check your boxes too. It's not one-sided. It has to
Fire,
be.
fire,
It's
fire.
a conversation. So you
Absolutely.
should be listening out to, oh, I have to be working after hours. Oh, I have to come into the office 3 or 4 days a week. I can't, you know what I mean? So, what is it that's really important to you and that you value? That
Mhm.
employer needs to meet that,
Exactly. I
or
love that.
you're gonna be frustrated,
And
right?
whose fault is that?
Just saying, right? Just saying, because we're always a choice, right? You made the
Yep.
decision to say
Yep.
yes to this opportunity, knowing full well that this is just not it. And
It's
I
not
can
it.
tell you, speak from experience, because I almost did the same thing. Even
Mm.
I used to say that I'm very risk adverse, right? And I remember after I quit my job and I got a little bit cold feet and I was like, what am I doing? I have a mortgage. I got family to support. And I remember calling my coach because I slowly started putting out my feelers to say, okay, I'm going to do this coaching thing, but I'm going to do it, part-time as it comes because it wasn't like as lucrative as it is right now for me. And I called him and I'm like, I'm going to accept this position because it was what I was doing before. And I learned very quickly, not because you can do it means that you should do it.
Right.
And I almost said yes to this opportunity. He listened to me for a while and he said, you know what, Kadine, he goes, I can't tell you what to do as your coach. I can't tell you what to do. He goes, you know your livelihood, you know your responsibilities. He goes, but I'll tell you right now, I have to call bullshit. I hope I can cuss on you because he said, I guarantee you that if you say yes to this opportunity, you're going to be right back here feeling stuck, feeling unfulfilled and unhappy. But if you do make this investment in yourself, give yourself the time and the space to just go hard and go all in. He goes, you can't fail. And 4 years later, that's exactly what I did. He said, think about it. Think about it for maybe 15, 20 minutes. He goes, and then make your decision. Dr. Michele, I think I thought about it for 20 seconds and I was like, he's right. He's absolutely right. And I knew that because within your heart of hearts, you know what you want. You know what you should do, what you shouldn't do. None of us are broken. We don't need fixing. Sometimes we just need that different perspective or that safe space or container where we can kind of figure ourselves out.
Yeah.
And then move forward, right? But there's so much noise and busyness that we hardly take the time to do that. And that's when we have those roller coaster moments and ebbs and flows and jobs and relationships because we don't take the time out. We all need some time out. Check yourself.
That's good. That's good. I love all of this. I just heard but the last thing I heard was Coach K say, check yourself before you wreck yourself. Okay. She didn't say that, but that's what I heard.
That's what you heard. Yeah, but 100%. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. I've been there, done that. Didn't listen to myself and ended up paying the price for it. And that's my mission and my goal is to ensure that everyone, male or female, has that safe space where they can just figure themselves out with the guidance of my support so that they don't kind of wreck themselves moving forward.
Yeah, I like that. So let's get low. We went on 14 tangents, but I love it. I love having dialogue with people that are, we have similar ways of thinking, but also I love that you just challenge me to think critically.
Yes.
So how do you modify, like when you have, a student or a participant in your program, how do you modify your coaching based on the data that you are gathering? Data could just be like, I see they're not working, or it could be specific metrics that you're tracking.
That's a great question. I think I'm still in the process of trying to figure out that piece because I do have some clients that are young adults and what works for them doesn't work for my C-suite level executives, right? So I think there's definitely much more hand-holding that comes with the young adults, whereas a C-suite, I can give them a task or because I do, like I said, I put them to work. I can give them some templates and I can give them probing questions that they need to complete and they can come back with it perfectly. And then the young adults, it's like they're still stuck. So it's really more hand-holding. I don't know if you want to call it white glove, just kind of cuddling them to be like, okay, well, if this were to happen, how would you feel? If that were to happen, what would you do? Right? Actually really kind of talking them through it. So I feel like I'm still kind of trying to figure that out. What's really working well based on, who I'm speaking with. But because I use a very holistic approach to my coaching anyways, it works. But that's a really good question that you asked is how can I ensure that different methods and methodologies. So I'll have to for 2024, I'm all about getting into the numbers and the strategies and looking at metrics and stuff because to be honest, I haven't really been paying that much attention to it.
But it sounds like you're already on the right track because you're already seeing a trend. So when I say data, a lot of times people just do think numbers and, that is a lot to do with it. But it's just information and it's any piece of information that's going to help you make the next best decision. And it sounds like you already seeing like two different populations of people. And so it's just like for these people, this is seemingly, working these, they need a little more. So that's already, momentum of recognizing the trends. Yeah. That's
no, but thank you for saying that because I feel like sometimes, like you said, I feel like I'm just so in the moment, go. But I think it is also key to step back. Like you asking me that question, I'm like, oh, that's a really good question. So now I almost want to go back and look at, okay, clients for 2022, clients for 2023, what was the trend?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because that data is also important for me to know instead of just kind of being in the moment and in the space, which is how I typically operate because everyone's unique.
Yeah. Yeah. And I have a business like that too. And I'm slowly starting to see like this is what people want when they come to me because all
Yes.
I was talking about this on I did a live on Instagram about testing. And when you have a few participants or only have a few eyeballs on something, they
Mm-hmm.
could want like totally different things. So you have five, let's say you have five in your program. It could be five literally different personalities. They all want something different. But
Right.
then by the time you get 100 people, and they only are maybe have five different distinct things, that's very few compared to the 100. It's like, oh, that's only five things for this 100 people. So it's just like it's just like a numbers thing. Like when you are only working with a small for a little bit of time or with a small group of people, it really is hard to tell what is like the trend, what is a pattern, what is in common because it's like all
Right.
over the place in the beginning.
Agree.
But the more you do it, the more you start to see, like, oh, it's only this, this, and this. That's really what people come to me for. And this is what my services are going to be around.
But it will help you with everything. And that's why I'm saying it's so important that I do take the time to step back because it'll impact my marketing strategy, my target audience when I'm speaking to them, when I'm
Mm.
putting content out there and adding value, on social media platforms that I show up. So it's definitely something in 2024 that I want to be more mindful of. I just haven't, things have just been so busy that I've just been like going. But yeah, I definitely want to kind of tap into those numbers. I might reach out to you and be like, Dr. Michelle, how can I do this?
Yes, I would love to talk to you more detail, but it sounds like you get it too, because a big part of what I've
Yeah.
been having to do over this last year is a lot of education. And I've been
Mm,
talking about the data and the numbers so much. Like now people are starting to get like, oh, I need this to, like you said, for my marketing. I need to know who I'm
exactly.
talking to. Like, what are these people? Who are these people that I'm attracting? They have some commonalities. And if you can actually articulate them, you can go find more people like them. So it really does make your job
100%.
easier. That's why data driven organizations are 19 times more profitable because they're talking to the
Mm,
right people, they're attracting people, they're retaining their people better, they're
yeah,
making better decisions, quality decisions. So it's really not just about what's trending, what's popular. That may not always work for your people. It's really
exactly.
about what does the data say? And it doesn't have to always be hardcore numbers. Getting their feedback is still data, and you using that to change how you do some things.
Yeah. It allows you to pivot and to kind of go in the right direction. Definitely.
You got to answer my next question about what is something that you're looking forward to implementing. So we've already heard.
Woo, systems.
So
More
I love that.
systems. Yeah,
Tell us more
automating
about
some of my
that.
processes for sure.
I love that. That's something that I focus on too because of course, the data, the numbers cool, but it's just like what do you do with it?
Hmm.
And you use it to build your systems and to be more efficient. So that could be as simple as like, well, the data shows that this is my avatar. These are the people that I'm attracting. Well, first of all, how do you even get that information? Me,
Hmm.
when people get on a call with me, I'm asking them a couple of questions because I want to know about you. I want to know what the
Right.
trends are. Who's like, how old are these people? Do they have a track record of using data? How long have they been
Mhm.
in business? So I ask some, not a lot of questions because that's how I'm learning who is coming to see me, and that's all a part of my system. You book a call, the questions get asked, it comes to me, the call is scheduled. All I did was set it up.
But it's
That's
so true though, because then you can kind of tweak how to have these conversations too. So I like that. And I do something similar with my discovery calls too with my
mhm.
clients. So
Yeah.
yeah, very similar.
And no, and that's information. I don't know if you ask any questions on like the form before they actually go on the call, but that's information that if you're not looking at, and listeners, if you're not looking at that, take a look at it. I actually had a friend slash client. She was asking questions, but she was not really going back to really look at it and see the trends. So
Mm.
if that's a little free nugget for you
Guilty.
today.
Guilty. I look at the questions before I have the conversation with the
Yes.
person, but do I go back to it? Nope. Unless they actually become a client, then I might.
Hmm.
But then
Yeah.
it's still like something that would be great to go back to see,
Hmm.
okay, who are the people that are reaching out to me. Who are my
Mm-hmm.
people?
Yep.
And why?
Yes.
Why are they reaching out? Those are
Yes.
great insights. Great insights.
Right. And so then like she was able to tailor her like her offering like oh they really it kind of only boiled down to a couple of things like I want to buy a house. I'm interested in like retiring wealthy. Like I want to be okay when I retire and maybe I want to get out of debt. And it might have been like those three things. Out of
Yeah.
all the responses, it was like a common denominator there that she can legit use to color her avatar in ads on her sales pages, in emails, when she's speaking on stages. So, like, because I know this is why people come to me, I might as well just keep getting more of them. So that's the data and the systems working together.
Right, right. No, well, listen, you're like making me go like, uh-huh. Yep, it's so important and I need to spend more time in it because like it would save me, I think, a ton of time on the back end,
Mm-hmm.
or
Yes.
even on the front end too, when I'm meeting with people and speaking. So definitely something that you've poked the bear there that I need to kind of tap into.
I'm glad because you said even saving time, like literally, that is what my company does is literally say to increase your revenue and save time because you
Yeah,
should be more efficient whether it's the systems
exactly.
doing some work for you or you're eliminating some meetings because you now have data to drive your decisions because I can't stand unnecessary meetings child.
Right?
Ugh,
This
I
could have been an email. Sometimes I'm like, this could have been an email. We didn't need to get
this
on a
could have been
call.
an email. So yeah,
Right.
so that's a benefit of using data and systems. So I love that that's a part of your plan for
Mhm.
next year. And for those of you that are listening, if that's a part of your plan too, make sure you stay connected or replay this back again as I talked about it. Or even jump on a call, give you more details about how you can do that later. But first, Coach K, could you tell the people where to find you?
Absolutely. So you can find me. I hang out on LinkedIn and I hang out on Instagram. On LinkedIn, it's just Kadine Cooper. And on Instagram, you can find me as career coach underscore K.
I love that. Can you spell Kadine Cooper?
Yes. So Kadine is spelled Kadine and Cooper is Cooper.
Because you're the first Kadine. No, that's not true. This is one couple I followed on Instagram. Her name was Kadine.
But spelled
But
differently,
it's
maybe.
spelled differently. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yep.
hardly see it spelled this way, but I've seen it spelled with a C. I've seen it spelled with double
Really?
E's. So yeah.
Yeah, I've seen double E's. And if you guys are still here listening, I'm glad you hung out with us to the very end. Thank you for tuning in to Numbers Don't Lie with me, Dr. Michelle, on KCCR Cityscape. We are so excited that you are decided to choose us. You could be listening again to anyone else in any place else, but you decide to listen with us. Stay connected with us. You can check us out on brownstoneworldwide.com and check out the website because we have so many things going on. There's a marketplace, there's news, and there's
Hmm.
also a magazine, Brownstone Living Magazine. So going over to brownstoneworldwide.com, check it out, and then follow us on Facebook at brownstoneworldwide.com, as well as Instagram by the same name. And you can find me, Dr. Michelle, on Instagram and Facebook, and really much everywhere at Mogul Beginnings. That's Mogul, Mogul Beginnings. And if anything I said today resonated with you, I invite you to take a quiz. So take a quiz to see if you are really maximizing how you're doing business. And I like to say data is like your precious resource that most of us are not leveraging. So take the quiz to see if you are leveraging it. And if not, it's time for us to talk. Okay.
Agreed.
Any other things you want to say to the people, Kadine?
No, I just want to thank you so much for having me. And like I said, you kind of shed some light on some areas that I kind of like, it's not my strength. So I kind of, and I guess what I would say then is hire someone. I think
Mm,
one thing someone told me, a business coach told me when I first started, was if something is taking you more than like 20 to 30 minutes to figure out, she's like, it's not your area of expertise and you need to
that's
hire
good.
someone or call a friend. So that's what I would leave people with. Call Dr. Michelle, call a coach, call a mentor, call a friend. We were not meant
Somebody.
to do life and struggle through things alone. So
That's good.
their answers are out there. You don't have to struggle to figure it out.
I love that. That's a great way to end the show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Bye.